People, good afternoon. All right, so in the last hour or so, Tyson Fury has called out Anthony Joshua for a showdown in December. Now, I did 2 videos already today. What next for Andy Ruiz coming off that Luis Ortiz win, and actually what next for AJ. Now, in one of those videos, I mentioned the possibility of AJ versus Fury, very tongue-in-cheek. AJ wants to fight in December. Fury wants to fight in December. Fury wants to fight Alexander Usyk. Usyk doesn't want to fight until the new year. And AJ, we don't know who he's going to fight next. So I said, what about the possibility of AJ versus Fury? Again, very, very tongue-in-cheek. I also mentioned Zab Judah versus Floyd Mayweather. Now, the reason I mentioned Zab versus Floyd is because Floyd fought Zab coming off a loss. Again, Floyd at the time was the pound-for-pound #1. One of the biggest draws in the sport, not the biggest back then, but one of the biggest in the sport. And he decided to fight Zab Judah coming off a loss. Zab lost to Carlos Boldemir, very, very unexpected. Zab lost his WBC welterweight strap. Floyd had the IBF and the IBO was vacant. So look, ideally, Zab was going to get past Carlos Boldemir and him versus Floyd was going to be big. It was an upset. The reason I say this is because it can happen. We have seen big fights happen when one of the big draws comes off a loss. It has happened. That's one example, Zab versus Floyd. There's many others in boxing's history. Now, look, do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I don't think there's any way on this earth that Tyson Fury fights AJ in December. And I guess that's a bigger indication as to the problems with boxing. Like, really and truly, why can't it happen? Well, it can't happen because money, right? The splits won't, no one's going to agree on the splits. The promoters don't even talk to each other, blah, blah, blah. There's a number of different reasons. But I like the call out. I respect it as well. He had the belt around his waist and he actually said, AJ, right now you're beltless. I appreciate the call out. I think it's a good one. Look, Tyson Fury wants to fight in December. It isn't going to be Alexander Usyk. He wants to be in big fights now, it seems, right? If you think about it, you know, back-to-back Wilder, Dillian White, he wanted Usyk, now he wants AJ. That's a good run. That's a very, very good run. He's now fully back as well, by the way. That's another discussion completely. For a man that retired a few months ago, he's now calling out AJ, called out Chisora, called out Usyk. He clearly wants to continue fighting, and he wants to fight in December. Now, from a standpoint as to why AJ should take the fight, why not? Honestly, if Tyson Fury's manager, so Frank, whoever it is, phones up AJ's team, 258 management, and says, let's do this. If I'm AJ, I'd do it. I'd do it. Why not? What we're in this for? We're in this sport for the biggest fights, right? I mean, as much as I want to see AJ versus, quote unquote, an easy fight when he returns, yeah. When you're at that top table, I don't think you get up for those easy fights. And look, some might say there's no easy fights in the heavyweight division. There is. There is easy fights in the heavyweight division. AJ won't get up for that. He'll get up for Tyson Fury. He'll get up for it completely. He wasn't bashed up by Alexander Usyk. It wasn't one of those grueling fights where he got off the canvas 4 or 5 times. It wasn't that, was it? It was outboxed and at times made look a bit cumbersome just because of how good Usyk is, but he wasn't destroyed. So he's good to go. He's good to go. Have a rest and get back in it. Get back on it. You want to get back on the horse. There is no bigger horse than the Tyson Fury fight, is there? I think, and it's weird because I was about to say, I don't think there's enough time to negotiate it. I don't know how long these fights take to negotiate. I have no idea. I don't know if the same money that was available when these two were supposed to fight before Deontay Wilder rudely interrupted is the same money on the table now. But I'm telling you now, people will lap this up. Tyson Fury versus AJ, I think, I actually don't even think stylistically this is as tough a fight for AJ as Usyk was. I mean, Usyk just didn't stop moving. Honestly, it was a nightmare. Even for me watching it, I was like, can you fucking stop moving? Didn't stop. Fury isn't that. Look, I'm talking all in hypotheticals here because I don't believe it's going to happen. I don't even believe that Team AJ will even listen to it right now. I think they have their own path right now, which is AJ have a couple of gimmies and then get back into the big time. I don't know. But for me, as an AJ fan, as a boxing fan, if this is a genuine, true call out and not just something Tyson Fury does to continue to stay relevant, then I listen to Tyson Fury. People have spoken about the purse splits being different now that AJ doesn't have the belts. AJ's still a bigger draw than Tyson Fury. AJ's still a bigger draw. So in terms of the purse splits, I don't think that changes whatsoever. It's a 50-50 fight. Because Fury has the WBC and AJ has nothing, means very, very little. It's a 50-50 scrap in terms of purse. It's a strange one. It is a strange one. I don't know. I'm just trying to sort of get into the mindset of AJ's team, sort of Freddie Cunningham and all those guys at 258. If that call comes and it's genuine, do you take it? Do you take it? Do you say, fuck it, let's do it? Or do you say, no, let's do what we said we're going to do, or what Eddie said we're going to do, and maybe take someone in the top 15 as opposed to take on the #1 heavyweight on the planet? Or maybe for Tyson, this is just his mind games to Usyk. Like, okay, you don't want to fight me, I'll fight AJ. If you don't want to take the call, fine. I don't think Usyk would care about that. It's an interesting call out, it is. And what I like about it as well is when he said, look, I've got to do this. This is what Fury said. You guys have probably seen the video. I've got to do this. It's almost like I'm going to fight again and I have to give this guy an opportunity. If he wants it, we can rock and roll. If he doesn't, fine. Don't say I haven't given you an opportunity. He is giving AJ an opportunity to get back at the top table very, very quick. The problem is, if AJ loses to Fury badly, then that'll be 4 defeats in 6. Does it matter though if you're losing to the pound for pound, well, it's not even pound for pound, if you're losing to the best? I don't think it matters. Interesting. Look, they've got a tough decision to make regardless, but yeah, quick video on it. I mentioned it, very tongue-in-cheek. Tyson Fury's obviously watched my video and said, you know what, Ada, you are correct, let's do this. Peace and love.